It's recording.
Sup. We out here.
So I lost. Freaking
You think you're just done?
no, I mean I lost the first round, I should say. But
Okay, sure. Part one.
freaking Diggs.
Yeah.
Literally,
It came down to Aaron Rodgers and Diggs. Those were my last two. And
yeah.
Aaron Rodgers had a good night, but he kind of like slowed down towards the end because he was just playing with the lead. And I was like, oh man, it all comes down to Diggs. And like he actually had a really slow start. On their first two like offensive drives, he only had like one catch for 2 yards. And I was like, well, this is it. It's over. I'm going to lose this week, and I'm just going to have to hope for the best next week. So I was on my drive back up north, and Stefon Diggs had a really bad, like, 2 offensive drives where he only had a catch for 2 yards. And I was like, it's over, because it was just, I thought Josh Allen was, like, going off, and he wasn't needing Stefon Diggs anymore, because there have been games where Stefon Diggs kind of underperformed just because Josh Allen's really good at spreading the ball around. And so I was like, well, I needed him to have an early start, but oh well. Because, they're already like steamrolling the other team. And so I was like, he's not going to get a chance. But then I was like on my drive up, hadn't checked my phone in a while. We stopped at a gas station. I look, he's got 2 touchdowns. One of them was like a 50-yarder. And I was like, well, okay, that's a win for this week, just barely. Hopefully, I can clean out next week. And then a bit more down the drive, I see that I got another touchdown and even more yards. And I was like, well, I just stomped him, because earlier this week, I thought I was like dead. I thought I was over. Many like failures on my part. And then he just saved me, because I was under 100 points before him.
I also had like a bad week as well. And I'm like, well, Titus is also having a bad week, like before his Diggs. And I was like, okay. So like if Diggs can have, like, I know Diggs' potential to like explode is like high because like he sees the ball like a lot. So I'm like, okay, maybe if he just gets like under 20 points, like around like 20 points or whatever, then maybe just like next week I can come back from this bad week and like win, And I was like, hopefully Sticks like is not used that much. But then I fell asleep and woke up the next morning and I'm like, crap, he scored 42 freaking points. Like, how the heck did he do that? I was so freaking confused.
Also, Aaron Rodgers threw an interception, and I was like, oh my gosh. At this point, every point counts, and he's one of those guys I expect to never get interceptions. Yeah, Stefon Diggs just saved me. A bit deeper into our lineups. So our kickers and defenses, mine of which I like usually pride myself in as helping me like secure wins, they just flopped really hard. It's like the Colts defense -1, which is like insane. Like they were doing really good the first half. The only problem is they got like solid stops against the Steelers, but those stops aren't points in fantasy. You have to get sacks, turnovers, whatnot. But the only turnovers we were able to get on them were like turnover on downs in the first half, and we only got 1 sack the whole game. So by the time it reached second half and Steelers were popping off and like all the yards and points started adding up for the Steelers, it just made the Colts defense look so weak, even though in the first half they're actually doing pretty good. And I mean, there's an argument that I could have put in the Steelers defense since they had an interception, a fumble recovery, and didn't allow almost any points in the second half.
You don't want to do that.
I'm not going to put Steelers against my favorite team.
Yeah.
They just won the turnover and penalty battle. And that's what, allowed them to the win, because they scored off of their turnover against us, a fumble recovery. And I think off the interception as well. If we were able to get some of those like turnovers, then it would have been fine. There's a point where Chase Claypool actually did an offensive pass interference, like pushed one of our Colts to avoid 6. Like, there was so much room for him to just run down, and Ben Roethlisberger threw the worst throw I've ever seen, and he could have intercepted it and ran for the touchdown, but Chase Claypool pushed him. There was no call on it.
Really?
And they just kept rolling. Whereas there's many points where their defensive pass interferences called on us for reasons that shouldn't have existed. And there was a block in the back call against one of our linemen when Nyheim Hines, before the half ended, ran like 70 yards down. And this is pretty typical for Nyheim Hines. He always has a big play, whether that be rushing or punt returning, that gets called back for some reason. And the particular block in the back call, the guy was already going down. Like, the defensive lineman, he was already going down, but our offensive lineman kind of just did a, make sure you're down sort of thing, sort of gesture.
Yeah.
And that's what the flag was called on.
Really? That's such BS.
So I will say though that, I mean, referees were just missing a lot of things, even against the Colts as well. Like, there's a clear like chokehold against TJ Watt from one of our linemen that wasn't called. But that's the only thing that I would say was like against the Colts that wasn't called. It was mainly the Steelers. Like, the penalties were in favor of the Steelers, and there are a lot of penalties that game.
That's the one thing that I hate about like games. Like, if it comes down to refs like that, and if they're just like making overly like whelming bad decisions on the opposing teams, it's like, what much can you do? Like, everyone's against you. You're bound to lose. It's hard to come back like from that.
Yeah, so really, like, Colts dominated first half, Steelers dominated second half. And if it were flopped around, I guarantee you Colts would have won, because Colts can make those comebacks. We've seen that against Green Bay when Green Bay stomped us first half and then we closed it out second half and then overtime as well. If we ended the way we started, or like defense just had one turnover even, I think we would have won it. Because like, all anyone's going to remember is that Steelers came back 28 points in a row. Yeah. But it was still a 4-point game at the end of it, Yeah. Like, we were close.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my defense for the Colts. Obviously super disappointing, and it's the only time I've seen Frank Reich blow that big of a lead. He usually doesn't. Yeah. Well, at least with the Colts. I don't know if he did that with the Eagles at any point, but I've never seen him like just lose the chess match basically against another team. And so good on Mike Tomlin, obviously. It's just not a very typical like thing you'd see from the Colts, and I wouldn't expect that. Like, if we were going into the playoffs, I wouldn't expect to see as much as a flop against the top tier teams again. Like I said last week, though, I knew it would be a close game regardless of whether we won or lost, especially since our 2 tackles were out.
Yeah.
Anthony Costanzo, who's now going to be out for the rest of the season, and Braden Smith, who is probably coming back. I think he is. They were both out against the leading blitz team in the league, and we held them to so well for the first half, and then we just got destroyed second half. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, back to when the Eagles won the Super Bowl with Frank Reich, like, we got to huge leads and we were able to like control them and keep them. Like, even with the Super Bowl next to Patriots, like, we had a small lead, but like, I'm pretty sure we only lost the lead like once, but other than that, like, we controlled the entire game. Yeah, Frank Reich's not known for that huge lead. And then I saw the scoreboard at half. It was like 24-7. I'm like, dang, the Colts are going to like take this away. But like, I was like surprised that Pet was able to make that big of a comeback.
Yeah, they just got a lot more ambitious. Obviously, like, playing from behind. So, and our secondary is our weakest part about our defense, and they were just able to get us at the right moments. And then on the other side of the ball, Frank Reich was referring to some chess match about why he didn't keep rushing Jonathan Taylor, because he had a massive first half where he accumulated like 19 fantasy points.
Yeah.
Huge first half, and one half that's big. And a lot of people were upset that Frank Reich didn't keep using him in the second half, and he claimed that if we had gotten more passing success, that he would have kept rushing Jonathan Taylor. It's not like you can just keep rushing Jonathan Taylor against the leading blitz team. Like they'll be able to read it. It's just that he lost the chess match against Tomlin, and Tomlin was able to call out somehow every time they rarely rushed Taylor in the second half, and he was able to call out when it was a fake to Taylor and like a pass. So it was just like I wouldn't say luck because I think Tomlin is just that intelligent. But Reich in the second half just got outcoached. So
yeah, that was a fun game to watch, nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, I was super depressed the rest of the day. Like my mom will tell you, like she was not happy. Well, not happy with me. I wouldn't say that. She was just like, she didn't know what to do because I was so like on edge. And I was like, man, I can't talk. Like, I've never felt that way with the Colts. Like if the Colts lose, like obviously it sucks, but to get my hopes so high, and the game that we were like, everyone said we're gonna get washed in because both of our tackles were out. People were saying that we would actually get destroyed. To like be on the other side of that, to be destroying the Steelers and then completely blow it, it just hurts so bad.
That's literally the story or the life of an Eagles fan. You just described every single like Eagles fan in the world.
Yeah, see, I never have to feel that way.
Yeah, it sucks.
I've never felt what an Eagle fan feels like because the Colts, as long as I've known them, have never lost in this particular way.
Yeah.
Whereas like I see that almost every week with the Eagles. I'm like, I wonder what it's like. And now I know.
Yeah. And like it especially sucks too because it's like playoff implications as well. So there's like so much at stake as well. So it's like everything's riding on this one game.
Colts could be out of the playoffs 11-5. And
yeah,
honestly, it might happen just because Bills and Steelers, the teams we need to win in order to get us into the playoffs, are both kind of resting some of their starters. I'm not sure if the Bills are still doing that because they might be trying to go for a higher seed, but like Ben Roethlisberger isn't playing. And so like Steelers beat us and then salt in the wound, not playing their best players when we need them to win.
Yeah.
Against the Browns. And so yeah, we might be out of the playoffs 11-5. Because if we lose the Jaguars, that'd be crazy. I don't think that's going to happen. So I think we end the season 11-5 and out of the playoffs, it would be so disappointing.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we could be 11-5 and win the division. So it could be either way in a matter of a week.
Yeah, that's a crazy division.
And it's like, I feel like NFC East. It's either we win the division or we're out of the playoffs. And it's like, but we're actually good. And sucks.
Yeah, it's like the complete opposite of the Eagles or like the NFC East. But well, I mean like good and bad because like the NFC East is trash.
We can talk more about NFC East later. That's all I'm gonna say about the Colts. Probably the last thing I'll say about the Colts is that there's been headlines going around about how we're not going to put like the other games' scores up on the scoreboard. I don't know why that's a headline. I feel like that should just be obvious. Like why get sidetracked by anything happening in the outside world? Like whether that be, you know, an election or anything. Like you're not going to have that on the scoreboard or anything like that. Like other events outside the world, like you have to focus on your game. So like obviously that's going to affect whether or not we're in the playoffs, but what matters more is that we have to win this game to be in the playoffs. There's no scenario where we lose and we end up in the playoffs. So
yeah, that was like, I mean, I'll get more into it once we go over the predictions, but that's their announcers were talking about that during the Eagles game, and they're like, oh, Washington like lost, so like whoever wins this game still has like a chance to go on to the playoffs or whatever. And they're like, yeah, so Mike McCarthy is not going to tell any of like the Cowboys players that the Washington lost until like the end of the game or until like the last 2 minutes, and I thought that was kind of obvious.
So yeah, but defense did bad. Younghoe Koo had a terrible missed field goal that lost their game against the Chiefs, and Chiefs got bailed out against a really good defensive performance from Atlanta, which we would never have expected against the Chiefs. But it was an amazing defensive performance at Mahomes. And but Chiefs still won 14-17. And then Josh Jacobs did bad. I think he just wasn't used the way he usually is used, like
Yeah.
in order to gain like actual fantasy points. I think they just had a different strategy with him, and it came down to like Derek Carr needing to get like the extra yardage and whatnot. Just it became more pass oriented towards the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Calvin Ridley did good, but he didn't get any touchdowns, sadly. Just 5 catches and 130 yards. Amazing. What is that? That's like 26 yards per reception. That's crazy.
Yeah.
George Kittle came back and had a decent game. He's on limited snaps and still got 4 catches for 92 yards. So, I'll take that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
glad he's back. McCaffrey did not come back. That was a huge loss for me. He's not going to come back for the whole season. So I've kept him around just for nothing, basically. No one on my bench actually did better except for my defense and kicker.
Mm-hmm.
So I should have put Blankenship in, I guess. I didn't want to like go all out Colts against the Steelers because I know Steelers are good.
Yeah, on the other hand, my side, my bench, like there's so many other players I could have put in. Well, I mean not so many, but like I could have put Robbie Anderson or Amari Cooper for I could have replaced them for both Metcalf and Brandon Ayuk and would have done a lot better. Brandon Ayuk got only one reception for 15 yards and then I think one rush for like 20 or whatever. And then I could have replaced Cooper with DK Metcalf, who had a decent game. DK Metcalf had 6 receptions, 59 yards, but Cooper had 4 receptions for 121 yards. And before the game, before that, like both of them start because it was both for 25 games. I was talking to my dad. I'm like, who should I put in, Cooper or DK Metcalf? Because like one, Cooper is playing against the Eagles, and we always had that one receiver that goes off against us. And I was I should play Cooper over Metcalf. But then again, I've never like benched Metcalf. Like, what if Metcalf like all of a sudden like goes off against the Rams? But I should have put Cooper over Metcalf because Rams is a tough defense. I should have put the Buccaneers over the Dolphins. That should have been an obvious one because the Bucs are playing the Lions. Yeah, so the Lions aren't that good of a team, and we were saying before this week or in last podcast that the Raiders have like a higher scoring offense and because like get a lot of points against the Dolphins defense, which ended up happening. And yeah, Dolphins only got 2 points. They got a fumble recovery, but Buccaneers defense went off, only allowing 7 points. They got an interception, a few sacks, and a fumble recovery, so that should have been a clear one. But the Bucs defense got 14 points, and the Dolphins only got 2 points. So if I would have replaced a couple players, I could have gotten like 30 plus points or 30 points than I had. So I could have had around the range of 142 points total, but it was tough decisions and it was like game time decisions that really happened. And I just didn't trust Robbie Anderson either because he played terrible the week before. But that's why I had such a bad game. And I ended up picking up Jalen Hurts. I think that's the only transaction that happened. And he was like dominating. I'm like, heck yeah, like the first half, both him and Sanders were going off because both of them had 10 points each, like by the end of the first quarter. I was like, dang, like I can actually like take this away and maybe like dominate you because like your side wasn't doing that good. And then soon before you know it, the Eagles pulled an eagle thing. And
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts actually would have done pretty good if he wouldn't have thrown those 2 picks. If he was pickless, he would have had like 25 points, the same as Rodgers. But Sanders had a decent game as well with a rushing touchdown, 57 yards, couple receptions. So those were the highlights of my spot. And then David Montgomery, he's been doing like lights out the past 4 weeks, 20 plus points in each game. And Travis Kelce as well still hasn't had under 20 points since week 8. So those were another bright spots. But again, my defense, Mason Crosby, Brandon Ayuk, and Gibson just flopped horribly, and that's where I got such little points.
As for third place matchup, we got Esposito Fries and Compton Crypto, Brendan Peachy. I actually thought towards the beginning Brendan was going to win this because he was popping off early with Alvin Kamara, 56 points, a record tying performance from Kamara, 6 rushing touchdowns in one game. Merry Christmas to him. But then he kept Terry McLaurin in, who wouldn't go on to remain like in the game, or I don't think he was in the game at all. Actually, he was questionable. And then Tom Brady had a good game against Detroit. It was a blowout, basically. Eric Ebron actually had a touchdown against his old team, the Colts. That stung a little. So, like, pretty decent performances in those aspects. Like, he had a game that topped our 2 weeks. Like, we did worse than the third place teams, you know? And then Sophia came out and, you know, she had Josh Allen, who's a MVP candidate, 32 points in our league, 320 yards, 4 passing touchdowns. And then just consistent performances, I'd say, from the rest of her team. Dalvin Cook, Austin Eckler, Chris Godwin, Adam Thielen, Darren Waller, Cooper Kupp, all very solid guys who didn't have like a blowout performance or anything like that, like Alvin Kamara had or Tom Brady had, but they're all just very consistent. Whereas Brendan had like DeAndre Swift, Tyreek Hill, Aaron Jones, not do that great. So, and then she also had Jason Sanders, 4 field goals all made and 2 extra points all made. All a good kicker performance from him.
Yeah, so like I also saw that too, and I thought Brendan was going to just like absolutely blow Sophia away, but this just goes to show you that as long as your players each one of your players at least gets average, you can like or get a crap ton of points and win games as long as like each one of your players gets at least average, and that's what Sophia's team did. And that's why she was able to win, because she was able to exploit Brendan's players that flopped, because Brendan had, like you said, Brendan had a couple players that just absolutely flopped. And without those flops, he would have destroyed Sophia, because if you look on his bench, he had Mike Evans.
He could have won with that.
Yeah. If he would have replaced Mike Evans with McLaurin or even Tyreek Hill, or even put it in the flex, he would have like destroyed Sophia, because Mike Evans had 10 receptions, 181 yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns for a cumulative of 40 points, which is just insane, because Brendan has 3 players who just blew up this week for him, which is you don't usually see that happen.
Yeah, and then on the other side, Sophia could have really put an exclamation point to her win, or like her lead, basically, because they're only within 10 points if she put in David Johnson instead of, I don't know, someone on her flex player, Cooper Kupp, because she hasn't activated him from IR, but he ended up playing, and their loss to Cincinnati, he had over 100 rushing yards and 2 total touchdowns, so very good job from D. Johnson. I traded for DeAndre Hopkins, so the worst trade in history. But
David Johnson is looking like his old self. Like a few years ago, his first couple of seasons in the NFL, he's blowing up fantasy highlights. He's getting highlights for each and every week. And a few years ago, if you would have told me Hopkins for Johnson, I would have said the other way around, that Johnson was the steal instead of Hopkins. But
really, wow,
yeah, obviously that's
Hopkins is a top 2 receiver in the league, man.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, I wouldn't say that now due to how bad David Johnson has been playing the past couple of years. And Johnson actually played decently this year. He had a few injuries, but obviously not to any magnitude of Hopkins. But he for a fantasy perspective, he's had 5 straight weeks in the beginning of the season. 5 straight over 10 points, which is decent. And then the last 2 games versus the Colts, he had 24 fantasy points in our league, and then 28. He had 12 receptions, 128 yards. well, 12 carries, 128 yards, a touchdown, and then a receiving touchdown. But then for the Colts, he had 8 carries, 27 yards, and then 11 receptions for 106 yards. So he's rebounding and looking like his old self the past couple weeks.
Yup. Let's see. I guess we can go in predictions just because the other game doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But close game in the third place match, and then I have a bit more of a lead against you.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about what our lineups will be next week and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Predictions wise, you beat me by 2 disputes.
Really?
Yeah. Because you correctly guessed New Orleans over Minnesota, which if it wasn't for Kamara, I would have been right. But just because the week before with New Orleans, they weren't going back to Kamara, even though Drew Brees was healthy. And usually when Drew Brees is healthy, the rush game is a lot more centered around Alvin Kamara than with Taysom Hill when he was quarterback. Mm-hmm. But for some reason, there was just some disconnect where Alvin Kamara wasn't getting the ball and Drew Brees wasn't doing that great the previous week when they lost to Kansas City. And so I guess that's what I was going off of, was like Minnesota might be able to capitalize off of that with their great offense. Their offense doesn't really have miscues. Mm-hmm. And they put up 33 points, which, goes to show against the New Orleans defense. I was kind of right in that aspect, but I just didn't expect Kamara to pop off the way he did. So
yeah.
So there's that. But I also think I had the even though that was not the right upset prediction, it wasn't as bad as your upset prediction of Detroit over Tampa Bay, which ended up being 47-7. I chose Tampa Bay, obviously.
Yeah. I just thought that the Lions would put up more of a match than that. I just don't know what I was thinking there. I just thought for some reason that maybe a miracle would happen and the Lions would catch fire and the Bucks would shut down somehow, but obviously that wasn't the case. So you were closer to that blowout than anything.
So recently, people have also been saying, along with the Carson Wentz, the Colts rumors, people have been saying Matthew Stafford to Colts. That's the other thing that could happen. Yeah. Which I think I would actually like more than Carson Wentz, but I don't think I like either prospect that much.
Yeah.
Not that I don't like either quarterback necessarily. It's just that I'd rather go way younger and get a draft pick guy, or just keep with Phillip Rivers for 1 more year, since a lot of the Colts players have been really happy with him. A lot of Colts organization, and he hasn't really thrown that many interceptions or had really bad turnovers as people expected him to. Mainly because of great coverage in the pocket. He did lose a fumble and threw an interception against Steelers, but that's when 2 of our starting offensive linemen were out. And since Costanzo is out, we also did get a veteran replacement for him for the left tackle. Mm-hmm. Just in case, going in the playoffs, we'll need him. So that's good news for Rivers, at least. We could always use Quentin Nelson as left tackle, but he usually isn't put there. He's usually a guard. So
yeah.
But there was 1 week where he was put at left tackle for a bit, and he did absolutely fine. Mm-hmm. So it is an option. We have options at least. Whereas against the Steelers, it was just like, man, we don't have any time to work this out.
It's the case where you're just going, if you with Stafford or Wentz, it would just be like you're trading a veteran or an old guy for another veteran or an old guy. Yeah. I mean, Carson Wentz is a little bit younger out of the 3, but still he's getting up there in age.
Yeah, exactly. And we have a lot of cap room, so that's not really an issue with Wentz or Stafford. Obviously they're going to take up a lot of space, but cap room hasn't really been a bad thing for us. We have a lot of space. Among the teams with the top 5 most space, we're the only one with a winning record as of the season. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then there's Eagles who are in the negative. So.
Yeah.
Hey, if you get rid of Wentz, you'll be fine on that aspect.
I think Wentz would be traded at the end of this year if it wasn't for his cap space. I feel like he would have been gone if it wasn't for the cap space. But I
Hey,
don't think we're going
a
to be able to get rid of.
team could honestly take him. You never know.
Yeah.
Like maybe Jets. Who knows? Like
Yeah.
a team that. Well, I don't know if Jets have a lot of cap space, but a team with a lot of cap space that is doing poorly, you'll never know how desperate they'll get just for a
Yeah.
quarterback of Wentz's caliber.
Yeah.
You know,
But
he's had a bad season, obviously, but still, everyone
Yeah.
knows what he can potentially do.
Mhm.
So.
But yeah, I just think that Wentz would be traded a lot sooner if it wasn't for his cap space, because I feel like a lot more teams would be all over that. But even then, like we still had a couple offers before the trade line for this year in October. Before that was like finished, we had a trade offer from the Packers and another team.
Really? They wanted Wentz's backup or something?
Well, I mean, I think their thought process was like,
Aaron Rodgers isn't going to last much longer.
yeah, like he's getting up there in age.
That's sad. Aaron Rodgers wants to be doing this till 40, you know?
Yeah.
So Aaron Rodgers, I think I take it back actually. I would take Aaron Rodgers if he ended up leaving Green Bay. Absolutely.
I think anyone would. I would take even though the Eagles freaking have Wentz and Hurts, I would freaking take Rodgers any day. He's a beast.
I think Rodgers would actually like to go to the Colts. I think he would like the sort of, you know, what we got going on there. A solid defense as well. He's always liked being on a team with a solid defense. So I don't know. I know he wants to stay in Green Bay if he can, but clearly Green Bay organization hasn't given him as much respect. So
yeah, maybe after this year that would change, hopefully, because he's an MVP like candidate up there.
Yeah, exactly. I want him to get the respect he deserves, obviously, wherever he goes. So. Anyways, moving forward, Arizona lost to San Francisco. San Francisco is just flip-flopping. Like their defense is so solid one week and then they're just getting destroyed the next. Yeah. And it's like I can never read the San Francisco team. Obviously, they're Super Bowl caliber when healthy.
Yeah.
But it's just a matter of being healthy, you know?
Yeah.
Kittle was back. That was huge, but he's on limited snaps. And you know, we see glimpses of what they could be. And, you know, an early draft pick might really be beneficial for them again this upcoming season. I would see them making NFC Championship next year if everyone's healthy and they do well in the offseason. Like they don't, you know, make poor choices in the offseason. So that's all. Arizona is just like, ugh, come on, get it together.
Yeah, like I'm rooting for like Arizona to win and stuff, but then they just keep disappointing me each and every
they week. Still have a chance to make the playoffs, which I think should have been the Sunday night game, Arizona versus not San Francisco, what am I saying? Versus the Rams.
Yeah.
There's actually 4 games I would have said deserved to be Sunday night more than Philadelphia versus Washington. Because there's 4 games that have playoff implications on both sides. Whereas Philadelphia is just they want an early draft pick. So like
so
they may play their hearts out, maybe just because like, you know, that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But I mean, when we're talking about playoff implications, which is what the Sunday night game is supposed to be about, week 17, there's so many other better options.
Yeah.
And we're so tired of primetime and NFC East. They got so many slots. They had their chance to show up with big games like Eagles and 49ers. That was a good one. But other than that, they've all been so sloppy and embarrassing.
I just keep laughing because like I don't understand why they keep giving us slots. Like I don't want to watch a night game. I don't want to watch this night game. Why?
And it sucks because listen, we're gonna get them prime time, and then we're also gonna get some shitty NFC East team.
Yeah.
With a playoff slot at home, and we're gonna have to watch that too.
Yeah.
And it's like, let them have their home game in the playoffs, but don't subject us to another Sunday night game.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
I just thought it was hilarious when I thought that okay. Now I told this to my dad, but like the Eagles are probably going to win this game solely because they're meant not to win the game. So that means they're gonna win. Like they're not supposed to win this game. And I don't want them to win it. I want Washington to win this game. I don't want the Eagles to win this game. Because if the Eagles win this game, that means that the Cowboys go into the playoffs. And I do not want to see the Cowboys in the playoffs. And I want like better draft picks as well. So like, but the Eagles are gonna win. Like I want to pick the Eagles to win, but I don't want them to win. But yeah.
Anyways. Miami against Las Vegas. That is the other game from that night. Las Vegas had another tight game. They seem to have a lot of primetime tight games, and they should have won it, but Fitzmagic. That's all I can say there. Miami won that, and they still have a chance to be in the playoffs. I'm hoping they don't, because of all the teams that I don't want to be in the playoffs, in order for Colts to make the playoffs, it'd probably be Miami. I think they deserve it the least. Not that I'd say like Browns deserve it a lot more than the Colts, but I think they deserve it more than at least Miami. And I think Ravens, just the way they've been playing the past couple of weeks, definitely deserve it. So I hope Miami loses.
I'm the opposite. I want Miami to win because like I've been on their train throughout the season. And they
don't need to win, dude. They're on the rebuild. They don't need to be in the playoffs yet.
Yeah.
Just getting this far is already like really huge for them, and they should be happy if they don't make the playoffs. But as for the Colts, like this is the season. We have so many big offseason question marks that like if we don't make the playoffs this year, it's going to be really sad when we lose some of the players we're going to have to lose this year. So
yeah. But I mean, like, I'm just rooting for the Dolphins because my cousin is a Dolphins fan, and I just like the Dolphins.
Fair enough. Like, I don't care. At the end of the day, as long as the Colts are in, I don't care who's out. Yeah. Like, I'm not that big of a fan of Ravens, Browns, Miami anyways. So, it's fine. My main thing is I want to win the division. So, if Houston can beat the Titans, that'd be huge. So, there's still a chance Titans could not make the playoffs.
Really? Dang. Oh, wait, that makes sense. Actually, that'll be so.
Because they're the same. They're the same record as the rest of the wild card teams. It's just that they're winning the division battle against the Colts. So if they lose against the Texans, the Colts win against Jaguars, and then all the three other teams in the wild card also win. Everyone's 11-5, and then Titans are 10-6. They have to be out. Yeah, it'd be hilarious, but.
Yeah.
I would say Titans definitely do deserve it. As much as I hate that idea.
Yeah. Week 7.
We're off topic.
A big week for AFC.
Yeah, Cleveland lost the Jets. One of the main reasons why we're even in this situation in the first place is because Cleveland couldn't freaking beat the Jets. I know they were without receivers, but you have the best backfield in the game with Chubb and Hunt. Why couldn't you just use that to your advantage? Didn't make any sense.
That was so I was so shocked because is the Jets an actually good team? I was so confused.
I don't know anymore.
Were they just tanking the rest of the season to get that number 1 overall draft pick because the Jags secured it last week, so they have no shot to get the number 1 draft pick. So are they actually a good team?
Jets, I don't know. Jets are playing not a playoff team, but just below that. They're playing someone who's just missing the playoffs as of right now, and it's just the weirdest thing.
I think
Kansas City. Wait, what did you say?
I was going to say I think they realized that this was just going to be another mediocre season, so they decided to tank to get a better draft pick.
And then they won a game, and they're like, "Well, might as well keep it up." Chiefs won against Atlanta. Like I said before, good Atlanta defense randomly. If they can bottle that up and, have some good offseason moves, get, some better linemen, maybe another running back because Todd Gurley is clearly not the answer. Better coach, play caller, obviously. They'll be a solid team that will be competing in NFC. But as of right now, they're just going to hope for as good a draft pick as possible, I'm imagining. Next was Chicago beating Jacksonville badly. Both of us knew that was going to happen. Yeah. Jacksonville has no reason to win. Just secure the number 1 pick. Secure the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes. Yeah, I know. They did with that game.
Yeah.
But also the fact that Jets won at the same time. So
yeah.
Baltimore beating Giants was pretty big. Just because Giants was needing to get another win to secure their chances in the playoffs, and so were Ravens. So, playoff implications on both sides, and Ravens just looked like clearly the better team. Whereas, in past games earlier in the season, Ravens would go close to a team like the Giants. So. Cincinnati being Houston was huge. J.J. Watt ended up, calling out all his teammates saying that they weren't trying hard enough, even though it's late in the season and they have a bad record. He's like, it doesn't matter, step it up because that's what you're here for. We have the best job in the world. And I agree. I hope they carry that energy against the Titans. Yeah. I have to play with a chip on their shoulder against them. But, Bengals without Joe Burrow, apparently really good. They beat the Steelers and the Texans was pretty huge scores.
So is Joe Burrow the answer? Probably not after this.
They just got 2 wins back to back. And Joe Burrow for 14 games only got 2 wins. So poor Joe.
Yeah. I feel bad for him.
Chargers beat Denver. It was a close game, but Denver couldn't secure it. Poor Trey. That's all I'll say there. Carolina. Oh, this is one of our disputes. I got it right in that Carolina would beat Washington.
Yep. So I thought I don't know why I picked Washington, to be honest, because Dwayne Haskins was playing and Alex Smith was out, and Antonio Gibson, even though he was in, he was still suffering from like an injury, so I think that affected his play a little bit. But just Dwayne Haskins, like they cut Dwayne Haskins like literally like a day after this game because he's just absolutely trash. I'm pretty sure he had like a QBR of like 4.15 or something, and he's just like one of the worst like QBs in the league.
He's not a QB in the league anymore.
Well, yeah, true.
You got kicked off right after the game. They're like, you're so bad.
Yeah. Like,
and it's if you get kicked off the Washington team, you don't deserve to be in the NFL anymore.
Yeah. And then like he already had like 2 COVID warnings or like whatever before this game as well. Because like the last one, he was like going to party or went to a party with like strippers and stuff without like masks, and that was like I think NFL COVID policy. So like he reminds me of Johnny Manziel, where he's just like always partying and like being like irresponsible. So yeah,
I didn't mention it, but the Houston, Cincinnati, and Denver Chargers games both were close. Were also disputes that you both won. So you correctly guessed Cincinnati and Chargers over the losing team. So good job. And that's what really secured your win this week. And the final dispute was Rams-Seattle, which Seattle won. Rams looking so bad recently. I don't know what the heck is with them.
Yeah. They're just like absolutely flop.
It's weird. I don't know if Rams have a chance to miss. Hold on. Let me see. Does the Rams secure their place? No, there's a chance they could miss the playoffs still. If the Bears continue to win, obviously, and the Cardinals take their spot. Yeah, Cardinals play Rams, so if they win there. I'm not sure exactly what the scenarios are, but yeah, it could happen.
Yeah.
Rams lose the Cardinals and Bears beat the Packers, they're out, I'm pretty sure is the condition. So it's crazy.
Unlikely, but still crazy. For some reason, I just hate the Rams. I don't know what it is. I just like absolutely hate the Rams. But
no, I like their defense, but their offense, I don't like.
Yeah, but Rams like not like they destroyed the Rams, but not like a crazy blowout or whatever. But oh crap, what was I gonna say? But the Rams defense actually like looked pretty good. It was I think 20-9. I thought it would be a lot closer game than it was, but that's why I didn't put in Russell Wilson in our matchup last week, was because the last time he played the Rams, he did really bad. That's all I have to say on that game.
Philadelphia lost to Dallas after Fletcher Cox went out. The defense kind of crumbled. Dallas steamrolled, and you guys, that rivalry went 1-1 this season.
Yeah, I mean, like I didn't want to lose to the Cowboys, but I think this was like better for us because we have like a draft picked and we would have gotten destroyed. in the playoffs.
Yeah,
anyway,
don't
but
no playoff hope. Don't
yeah,
have playoff hope.
yeah,
Not in a season that doesn't even matter for any of the NFC East teams. Because
yeah,
when you think about it, whoever makes the playoffs, whoever you want to make the playoffs out of this team, is the team you want to see lose at home in front
yeah,
of everyone in the world.
yeah.
Because there's no way that any of these teams are going to make a massive run.
What scares me the most is the chance of them going and winning it all. I know it's the slimmest of
No,
hope.
it's not going to happen.
I know it's the slimmest of hope, but the Giants did it. The only reason why I'm so scared is because the Giants did it 2 times in the
When they
last.
were 9-7, they're
Yeah, but
completely different.
okay, yeah, it's completely different. They're not, but they went 9-7 both seasons and beat the Patriots. One Patriots team being like one of the best teams in the last, like, if not this decade or this past decade, but if not like of the entire NFL history, going undefeated, and their only loss was coming in the Super Bowl against the 9-7 Giants, and then the other time again was like against the 9-7 Giants against the Patriots, but still that like dumbass luck that the NFC East has, I just don't like it. Like it just makes me nervous.
let's say that NFC East team
Yeah.
makes Super Bowl
Yeah.
against all odds. They have to go through Packers and Saints
Yeah.
and all of that. There's no way that they beat any of the AFC contenders. Chiefs. I refuse to believe that the Steelers would lose to them
Well, the Steelers already lost to Washington.
again. I refuse to believe they'd lose again.
Yeah.
Just because it matters at this point, and
Yeah.
Steelers, you know, they were just riding high.
Yeah.
And like, you know, it's not a game that particularly mattered, and then they started falling off because it actually ended up mattering. You know,
Yeah.
it's the Super Bowl. No way. Okay.
Yeah.
Like in the regular season, I could see Chiefs or Steelers losing to Washington just by, you know, the slimmest of chances, but not in the playoffs. I can't see it. Even with like Colts, Bills, like Bills actually, I think, have a chance of making the Super Bowl. Like if they do the right things against the Chiefs, because I don't really trust the Chiefs defense that much. If they just do the right things, I think they could do it. But it would be a close game for sure. AFC Championship. If it is Bills, Chiefs in the AFC Championship, that might look more like the Super Bowl than the actual Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I think the only Super Bowl deserving team is the Packers on the NFC.
And maybe the Saints a little bit too.
I don't really like the Saints that much.
Yeah.
Their defense is really weird. Like sometimes they do really good, sometimes they do really bad. So.
But I'm just disappointed that we lost to the Cowboys. Like even though we needed to lose to the Cowboys anyway. Like I don't like losing to the Cowboys, but I want
like miss the playoffs, but don't lose the Cowboys. That was the hope, right?
Yeah, I would much rather have Washington go into the playoffs rather than the Cowboys, obviously, even though I would love to. It's always a fun time watching the Cowboys get destroyed in the playoffs. But, like, I'm just worried about that, like, tiniest sliver of hope, like 0.0001% chance of the NFC team, like, going into the playoffs and winning the Super Bowl. Very unlikely for the reasons that you just said, but still, I don't want it to risk it. I'd rather have Washington make that one and win the Super Bowl rather than the Cowboys.
Sorry, I'm trying to get the Pacers game, but something's not working. NBA TV.
Who are they playing?
Cavaliers.
How many games have they played so far?
They played 4, so they beat 2 teams the first 2 games, and then they beat the Celtics, which was pretty huge, the third game, and that was like a big win because that was our first like huge win. And then they kind of flopped fourth quarter against the Celtics again in their second matchup against them. So they're 3-1, actually looking like pretty good, which like no one was expecting.
I feel like they can beat the Cavaliers. They're not really that good of a team.
They've actually, I think they're undefeated right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like they've actually been looking really good, but people are saying that it's not like a true like good team.
Oh, okay. Because like the past 2 years, ever since LeBron left, they've been doing shit.
Oh no, they're 3-1. Never mind.
Okay.
But they were undefeated until last night.
Who did they lose to?
the Knicks, which is like, yeah, if you lose to the Knicks, then you're not the greatest of the team.
What other games do we have to go over? I forget.
Green Bay beat Titans. It was a snow game. Titans aren't ever used to that, so.
Yeah.
And Aaron Rodgers in the snow is just perfect. So.
That was a blowout, right? Or more of a blowout?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Titans only put up 14. They can't even get their run game going, so it was bad.
So yeah, I think we talked about this early in their season, but like if you stop the Titans' momentum early, then you can have blowouts like they did.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And that's what Aaron Rodgers did. He was able to get it rolling really early. Like I think Devontae Adams had like 3 touchdowns. Damn, and then they were just able to just kind of like take it really slow and not do much the second half, and it worked out fine. Like Titans just had no momentum. Especially in the cold like that, like you kind of just give up earlier than if it was like, at your own home in perfect conditions. And so that's why a home field advantage for Packers is a big deal.
Yeah, I think they're going to get it because I think the Saints are the closest team, right?
Saints and Seahawks both have a chance.
Okay. So yeah, I think Green Bay is going to snatch that away because Green Bay beat the Saints earlier in the season. And I think Green Bay is going to win the final game of the season.
Bears.
Yeah, I think they got that. I mean, it's not like a lockdown, like they're going to automatically win. I think it's going to be close nonetheless, but I think they can get that win and secure the final seed because they're a game above the Seahawks.
Buffalo beat New England. That was just Josh Allen's show, and New England just looked bad. Like no secret there. No surprise. Also, little special thing, division predictions. Who would win the division all the way back from before week 1?
Yeah.
The winner of that little prediction matchup is a lock. I won.
Really? Wait, was it by like a lot?
Yeah, so no, just by 1. Or like it could potentially be by 2, depending on what happens in the NFC East. It's by 1. So NFC North, both said Packers, which is correct. NFC South, both said Saints, which is correct. NFC East, you said Eagles, which means they're now eliminated. I said Cowboys, still has a chance.
Yeah.
NFC West, 49ers and Cardinals, we were both wrong. Both the bottom 2 teams. So AFC North, we both said Ravens, which is like the 3rd team, so both wrong. AFC South, we both said Colts, still has a chance.
Yeah.
Still has a chance. AFC East, I said Bills, you said Patriots. That's what sealed it right there. Yeah. My correct answer in the AFC East. And then AFC West, we both said Chiefs. So.
Oh, dang. I thought we would have more disputes than that, but I guess.
Yeah, we had 1, 2, 3 disputes only.
I guess that's a lot because there's like eight total teams. But I mean, like I'm not going to like root against the Eagles for the NFC East. I didn't think that I didn't think they'd do that bad. And then
you were too confident about the Patriots. Way too confident. What'd you say? They're going 11-5 this year.
Both of my predictions just absolutely flopped.
And you said Cardinals would do really well as well, and they might not even break 8-8. So.
Yeah. Well, okay, I was like getting so full of myself too because I think like the first like week or two, they like both won.
It was looking good both directions. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
And I was just like getting so confident, but that flopped so fast, so hard too.
You were kind of right about the Buccaneers though. Yeah. I think we're both exaggerating. Like I was exaggerating how good they would be. You're exaggerating how bad they would be. They ended up kind of in between that.
Yeah. But they did a lot better than I expected they would.
Yeah. I'm not sure I'm necessarily surprised by how they didn't like exceed everyone's expectations. As like everyone just thought they would be the Super Bowl team, Super Bowl caliber team of the NFC.
Yeah.
And they just didn't meet that expectation. So
I just thought that
still could make it, but
I just thought that their best record would be 9-7 maybe, or 10-6, or 8-8. Like, but I didn't think they would be.
No, their defense definitely like improved better than people thought. So
yeah, but I just thought they would flop so hard. I thought they would get like a losing record at least. Pacers winning?
Dang, Milwaukee. No, I don't have the Pacers game. It's Milwaukee destroying Miami right now.
Dang.
Ugh.
That's a shocker. What's the score?
122-79.
What? Dang.
Yeah.
What the heck
And
happened
this
to
is Miami team that 4-1 Milwaukee in the playoffs. So.
That's crazy. What happened to them?
Or maybe they 4-0. I think it was 4-0 actually.
Yeah.
Wait,
probably
was
like
it
a revenge
Miami?
game or something.
Was it Miami that played them in the playoffs?
Yeah, it was Miami. I'm pretty sure.
Are you sure?
I don't know. I didn't pay attention to basketball last year.
Hold on, let me make sure because I'm starting to like second guess myself because they beat the Pacers. Yeah, they would have had to because they were the 5th seed and then they would have had to play the 1st seed. So yeah. They beat something. Shut up, Siri. What the heck? I did not call you for any reason. Let's look at our lineups next week. I am so lucky. Well, not lucky. I'm so proud of myself that I traded away Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes just for this matchup.
Why? Oh, wait, yeah.
Because they're both not going to play in their final game. If I was without my starting quarterback and my starting tight end, the best tight end in the league, and as of this year at least, I don't know if I would have been able to secure the win. But instead, I have Aaron Rodgers and I have George Kittle healthy again.
Yeah, the only chance that I had beating you was the past round. That was my only chance of like.
Yeah, if you secured a lead in the past round, you would have had a chance. But
yeah, and like I explained, I could have like secured a small lead probably by like 10 or 15 maybe if I would have put in the right players. But now I think you're just going to run away with it, and I have like absolutely no chance because of the players that you have in and who they're playing against. Because like every single like person that you're has still playoff hopes and needs a win to get into the playoffs, except for maybe like a couple players like maybe Ridley or maybe Jacobs. But still, they're going to play a lot, and then I kind of screwed myself because now I don't know what to do with my lineup. I just don't know what to do because like Zach Ertz, he's not going to play that much.
Yeah.
Is it official that Kelsey's out?
They haven't released exactly what lineup is gonna play, but they've clinched the top spot in the AFC, and he took the tight end receiving yard record. Like, there's nothing he would really be playing for, so he's definitely going to be a part of the lineup that's out, I would say.
Yeah.
So the projection for fantasy says he's going to get 0, so I would just trust that.
It is.
Yeah.
So that's why you have a 76% chance of
yeah, I wouldn't say it's 76. If you changed out Brandon Ayuk and Travis Kelce, then yeah.
I do have a tight end in mind that I've been eyeing up for this scenario because I kind of saw that Travis Kelce probably wasn't going to play. So I may pick up a player because I think I got an eye on who I want to play for that position.
Dude, Sunday's going to be exciting because it's all that day. It's not like we get kind of the taste of like who's in the lead or whatever, like with a Thursday night game or a Saturday night game, or even like we have to wait till Monday night to figure it out. Like it's all going to happen Sunday. My issue on my side though is that I have a lot of injuries. McCaffrey is out. Kenny Golladay is out. Keenan Allen is likely out. So I had to pick up T.Y. Hilton again.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I'm hoping he does well against Jacksonville. I'm putting in almost all my Colts. I'm still debating whether or not to put Blankenship over Younghoe. Cool. But we'll see. Game time decision.
I don't think you.
But Colts defense against Jacksonville, Hilton against Jacksonville, Taylor against Jacksonville, I'm very confident about. I just feel like this is a must-win game. So they have to. And they're playing with a chip on their shoulder since they lost to them week 1. So my honest opinion is there. Aaron Rodgers is playing a tough defense, but he had no problem with them last time they played. And Kyler Murray is playing on a hurt leg. And if Kyler Murray is not playing in the rushing offense, he doesn't typically put up a lot of points in fantasy. So their team isn't really successful when he's not part of the rushing attack. So that's why I'm sitting him out. Otherwise, I would have probably put him in. even though it's Rams defense, only because it's a must-win game for the Cardinals and Rams haven't been looking that hot. Mm-hmm. So I would just think it would be a back-to-back battle where Kyler Murray's just putting up all these points, all this yardage. But since he's playing off of an injured leg, I just don't trust it. Trust the MVP, you know? Yeah. That's what I'm going off of. Stephon Diggs, obviously. Calvin Ridley, you know. Mm-hmm. He has a good chance of doing well. Kittle, of course, I have to put in because I'm so happy he's back. I don't care if he's not playing for the playoffs. Mm-hmm. I want to see what he can do because I know he's playing with a lot of passion now that he's back. Yeah. Like, even though he's not going to make the playoffs, he wants to play his best performance. So that's the type of player you want. Yeah, and that's about it.
But I've been dealing with a crap ton of injuries as well because Brandon Ayuk is out. I have to replace him. I currently have him in. Travis Kelce is not going to play. Antonio Gibson is questionable. Jarvis Landry, I was hoping to have him this game, but freaking the virus got to him. So I was hoping to play him week 17 because he still has playoff hope. Mike Davis is doubtful, and Michael Thomas is like out for the rest of the season. So my entire like lineup is like injured or like not going to play. And
you got unlucky.
Yeah, I was like, I had all these players expecting them to play week 17 because like I have an eye on a tight end that I can replace with Travis Kelce that I was thinking of putting in. But yeah, so I just have to move around a couple players. I might put in Russell Wilson in because he's playing for playoff hope. And I don't know how well Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders are going to play because I don't know if they're actually going to play or wanting to lose. I think they're going to play like regardless, just to play.
Yeah.
I might just keep Miles Sanders in because I don't have any other good running backs, and all the other running backs on like free agent is kind of like unpredictable. So I may just keep Miles Sanders in just to keep an Eagles in. So I'm going to replace Jalen Hurts with Wilson. I have to change Brandon Ayuk with Amari Cooper. I don't have to change him with Amari Cooper, but I trust Amari Cooper rather than Robbie Anderson because Amari Cooper and the Cowboys are actually playing for something where Robbie Anderson is playing against a tough New Orleans Saints defense and he's unpredictable. Even though he's been good in recent times, it's just I can't have him flop and I need him to exceed and have like a boom game in order to beat you, and he hasn't had a boom game since week 1.
Right.
I'm going to keep David Montgomery in. I'll probably switch the Bucs defense with the Dolphins defense because the Bucs are playing Atlanta. Even though Atlanta can prove that they can score a lot of points, the way that the Bills are playing now, yeah, they're just steamrolling everyone, and Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs are red hot. So I feel like they're going to score a lot of points on the Dolphins. And I have Mason Crosby in. I may switch him out for another kicker, possibly. The way that the Bears have been playing, they might stop Aaron Rodgers a couple times. The Chicago defense might stop Aaron Rodgers a couple times for a long field goal, maybe. I can see that happening. Or maybe like a last-second field goal to win the game. So, yeah, that's probably who I'm going to replace.
All right. Let's just go on to predictions and wrap this up.
You don't want to go
since Josh is waiting for us.
Okay. Wait.
Josh is waiting for us, so let's just wrap it. I mean, there is the third place game, but I mean, I don't think their lineups are going to be changing much. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Dalvin Cook is out, but we can go over
he is?
next week.
Yeah. Okay. So I have a proposition.
Yeah.
That I just thought of. That's why I wanted to get to predictions because I was kind of happy about it.
Mm-hmm.
Since I am so behind in predictions, not so behind, like 10 games behind. Mm-hmm. There's this proposition that we could even carry on as a tradition into the next years, where you pick who you want to pick, and I'm forced to do the opposite. That way, every game is a dispute. That way, every game is a dispute, and it rides on your picks alone, whether or not you secure your win or not. Okay.
Okay.
You ready for that?
Yeah.
So let's go.
So every pick that I do, you're going to pick the opposite of it.
Yeah, I'm forced to. Just
Okay.
because that's the only way I could win, basically. And
Okay.
so your win is secured on your intelligence alone.
So you may be rooting against the Cowboys or the Colts. Not like rooting against.
No, I'm not gonna be rooting against the Colts. I'm just gonna hope that everyone else is correct. All right, go.
All right, so you got the
Tampa Bay 10-5.
Tampa.
Oh yeah, I kind of have a different order than what you may be seeing. So sorry.
Yeah.
But Tampa Bay 10-5 against Atlanta 4-11. Who you got?
I got the Bucks winning this one.
You got the Bucks. Okay, I got Atlanta. Giants 5-10, Dallas 6-9. It could be a coin flip here, actually.
I got the Giants winning this one solely because I don't want the Cowboys to win, and I want them to be eliminated.
Fair enough. Okay. Jets 2-13 versus New England 6-9. Oh, okay. In previous weeks, though, this would have been like an obvious pick for New England, but I'm not so sure anymore.
I'm honestly like with you because like I just saw that, and the way that the Jets have been playing, like I don't know if this is.
I honestly feel like they're favored.
Yeah, like at this point, I may pick the Jets. I don't know.
Because they've secured their draft pick. Like whether they win or lose, they're gonna have the second pick in the draft.
Really?
So they may as well be going for the win, yeah. Because the next worst team is Atlanta Falcons, who have 4 wins.
That's crazy. I don't know. I don't want to see the Patriots win, but I don't know.
Right.
I wanted to say Jets.
I have to cheer for the Patriots.
Okay, I may have been kind of being a little dick there because I know how much you hate the Patriots.
It's fine. Oh, this is embarrassing. Anyways, Detroit 5-10, Minnesota 6-9. Pretty close in records, I would say. Who you got?
I got the Vikings here.
Even with the Dalvin Cook out?
Yeah, I just think they're more of a complete team. And the last time I picked the Lions, they got destroyed by the Bucks, and I don't.
Right.
Yeah.
I get to cheer for Detroit. Let's go. Cleveland 10-5, Pittsburgh 12-3. Who you got?
This is a close one. I wanted to say the Browns.
Because good, because I need Pittsburgh to win.
Because I don't like the Steelers. I guess
they're also resting Ben, by the way.
Well, I mean, like I want the Colts to go in like the playoffs as well, but like I also don't want to see the Steelers.
So. There's other opportunities.
Yeah, so I'm waiting to say the Browns because I just don't like the Steelers at all.
Cincinnati 4-10-1, Baltimore 10-5. Who you got?
I got the Ravens.
Yeah, I have to be cheering for Cincinnati regardless. So.
Yeah.
Buffalo 12-3, Miami 10-5. Who you got?
I got the Dolphins 10-5.
Okay, good, because I need to cheer for Buffalo, so thank you.
Yeah, I just really want the Dolphins to get into the playoffs.
It's fair. If you're right on all 3 of those, I'm going to be so mad.
What if I go like 16-0 somehow? How bad would you be?
I'd be so mad. Okay, Seattle 11-4, San Francisco 6-9. Here you have.
I got Seattle.
Okay. I actually do want to cheer for San Francisco anyways. Because Seattle's already clinched it. I want to see San Francisco end with a win. Rams 9-6, Arizona 8-7. Important game for both teams. Who you got?
This is actually more tough than it looks. Or this is like more of a coin flip because I could see it going either way. Rams have been doing bad the past couple of weeks, but the Cardinals also have been not playing so good. But I think Cardinals are the better team right now, and I say the Cardinals are going to win.
Indianapolis 10-5, Jacksonville 1-14.
I would have picked the Colts here because it's just like an obvious one. I hate to do it to you, but like
it's fine.
If it was like a closer matchup, I would have rooted the opposite player just so you could like root for the Colts on this scenario. But
all right. Yeah. Houston 4-11, Tennessee 10-5. Who you got?
I got the Titans 10-5.
I want to be cheering for Houston anyway, so thank you.
Yeah.
Denver 5-10, Las Vegas 7-8. Who you got?
I got the Raiders 7-8. Or
Hmm.
yeah, the Raiders going to win this one.
All right, I get to cheer with Trey. Let's go. Kansas City 14-1, resting a lot of their starters against Chargers 6-9.
I don't know about this one solely because of their resting of the starters and Chargers almost winning the last time they met up, making it go or forcing overtime. I'm going to actually say the Chargers on this one solely because the Chiefs are resting starters.
Let's go Chiefs. The Chiefs have a chance to prove their depth. All right, Chicago 8-7, Green Bay 12-3. Who you got?
I got the Packers on this one. I just want the Packers to win.
Gotcha. All right, I get to cheer for Chicago and see if they make the playoffs. Okay. Carolina 5-10, New Orleans 11-4. Who you got?
I'm going to pick the Saints.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get to cheer for Panthers. I like the Panthers. So. Philadelphia 4-10-1, Washington 6-9, Sunday Night Football. Washington playing to secure the division. Who you got?
Wait, do you know if Alex Smith is back or not? I'm wanting to say the Eagles, just solely because this is a game. I said this earlier in the podcast, but this is a game solely that the Eagles should not win, so they're going to win.
Oh, okay. So Alex Smith was taking first team reps in individual drills. They haven't confirmed whether or not he'd start, but it's a good sign that he could. So, who'd you say you had? Philadelphia?
Yeah, because they shouldn't.
All right.
They shouldn't win. But if Alex Smith plays, then it's an obvious choice that the Washington's going to win.
Let's go Washington! Comeback player of the year! Woo! All right, there we go. There you have it. All disputes going into week 17.
So I just need to have 7 wins, and then I win.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess so. Yeah.
That would be funny if the complete opposite happens and you go 16-0 and then I go 0-16. So I guess that wraps up this podcast.
Yeah, that wraps it up.
See ya.
Peace out.